Hey, gang, as we get into the holiday season, inflation is really changing how we're celebrated at this point. A recent study found that 40% of Americans are likely to forego gifts this year, thanks to Bumbling Biden and his idiot inflationary policies. And the food index is up 11% compared to this time last year. And many of us are wondering, how on earth do we weather this storm? Well, my guest today has the answer. Troy Noonan is CEO and founder of NetPicks Trading LLC and the Backpack Trader. He's created some of the most successful trading strategies and training programs in the market today, used by thousands worldwide. And he's here to help all of us not only just make sense of these crazy economic times, but to flourish within them and find freedom within them as well. And make sure to stick me to the end of this video, because Troy has an amazing free offer for everyone. Even I'm going to participate in it as well. You're going to love it. So Troy, welcome, my friend. Great to have you here.
Thank you, Steve. It's great to be here too.
Well, it's great to have you. Look, obviously a lot of people are very, very confused about what's going on out there. So big picture, let's dive literally right in. How should patriots out there, just people who love faith, family, and freedom, who are just trying to weather this storm, how should they be thinking about what's happening in the economy right now? Can you help us just make sense of what's out there?
Yeah, clearly we're all feeling it. I would say, if you think about all the periods of time throughout history, there's always challenges, right? Even when I started trading, it was back in the 90s, early 90s. The Iron Curtain had just come down. It was a totally different world, but there was a lot of things to be afraid of and a lot of fear in the world and uncertainty. And, speed forward several decades, it's kind of hard to say that much has changed. The world has changed. We have an internet now. We have cell phones. We never used to have that when I started trading. But the level of uncertainty and insecurity is still very much real for everyday Americans, everyday families, everyone that has been taught to work hard their whole life. And it seems like the harder you work, sometimes don't you feel like you're just like you're a rat in a cage running around a wheel and you don't seem to get anywhere the harder you work? And I know that people are feeling that more and more now, especially watching the value of our hard-earned money go down and down and down. I went to the grocery store the other day and bought a bag of groceries, and I couldn't believe how little I had in that bag and how much it cost.
Eggs. My wife was just talking about eggs have tripled in price over the last few months. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I live out in California, so you can imagine what I feel like every time I have to go to the gas pump, and then my wife has to go, and then my son, and then my daughter is like, oh my God, I'm getting buried to do what? To go to the groceries and go to the grocery store.
Right. Yeah. Staples. Yeah. Yeah. Economy of needs, hierarchy of needs, first floor. Yeah.
Yeah. So, that's, in a way, you're kind of setting the stage for why it's so important, to talk about what we're going to be discussing today. And in a way, it's why I actually started the Backpack Trader, which a lot of people don't understand what that is. I know the first image is, you're going to schlep a backpack around, but no, that's not what it stands for. It stands for the freedom that you get when you can successfully trade in the markets, because trading in the markets that's like the ultimate level of freedom, first of all, because it's the best business in the world. If you think about it, you don't have employees, you don't have suppliers, you don't have customers that get irate and constantly are hounding you. In fact, all you have is yourself, your wits, your smarts, your computer, your internet connection, and how you deal with the markets. And if you learn the proper steps, you can spend a few minutes a day, follow a roadmap, and then you can turn the computer off and go enjoy your day, and you can just tomorrow rinse and repeat it. And so the Backpack Trader is a symbol of the freedom you get when you learn those techniques, when you can trade in the market successfully, because you do it from anywhere, whether you want to jump on, I don't know, cross country Amtrak train or the Orient Express, or trade from your own sofa or anywhere in between, the backpack trader gets to decide. He's or she is free to do it from anywhere. And if you do it right, you spend as little time as possible in the markets so that you can enjoy the fruits of that and enjoy your life the way you see fit. That's the key.
Love it.
That's
Absolutely.
the backpack trader in a nutshell. My work is done here. Bye.
That's all right. That's right. Things are crazy. They really are. They are nuts. Here's how you find freedom. There it is. Well, so speaking of the market, where do you see the market going, say, in the next 2 quarters? What's on the immediate horizon?
It's funny. I get asked that a lot. And my typical answer is, I don't know. I know as much as anyone else. There are a lot of people that think that there's another shoe to drop. We still haven't seen a capitulation and a sell-off. And so another leg down seems like the odds are slanting in that favor. We're kind of seeing some things erode right now. But in the end, as a trader, as the backpack trader, I try not to project myself or my ideas, because I tend to not know anything. I mean, none of us know. When you place a trade on the right edge of the chart, you really don't know what's going to happen next. You're now at the mercy of what happens next. And traders make money whether the markets go up or down. And since I can make money with the markets going down, I don't really try to predict what's going to happen. I let my strategy and my patterns and the things that I know give me a high likelihood next step. That's a tradable event, by the way, when you can kind of predict with a high degree of accuracy what's going to happen next. I let that tell me what to do, whether I'm going long on something or I'm shorting, but I'm getting in, I'm getting out, I'm taking my money, and whatever happens next doesn't matter because I'm flat. I'm already in and out with my money in my pocket. And that's the difference between trading and investing. Investors have to ride the big, huge mountain of uncertainty and the big cycles, right? If you're invested and you got these things that you've made all this money because you've been in this huge bear market for years and years, and all of a sudden it's like the market's been going down and down and down. You see your nest egg getting pinched and squeezed. Yeah. Meanwhile, the prices are going up like we talked about already.
Exactly.
Like,
oh God.
Causes a lot of apprehension. But imagine if you didn't care about that, because you can make money regardless and you could be in and out in a matter of minutes and just turn off your computer and say 6 months from now, you do the exact same thing, but your account's grown to the point where now your position size is larger and you're making a lot more money for the same amount of effort. And so it kind of debunks the idea that you have to work harder to make more. You don't. That's part of the backpack trader message too, is like it debunks a lot of things that we've been taught over the years. But let's go back to how we originally started this interview. If you work really hard, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be better off in the end, because you can't control what's happening. You can't control that the dollar is worth a lot less and will probably be worth less next year because of inflation. You can't control the big cycles that go down or up, or so you work hard, but then these outside forces take.
Right. So it's a working smarter, not harder kind of approach, it seems to me.
And also something that you can leverage. So if you understand what I mean. Like, for example, you got this plan, you got a strategy, you spend a little time, you learn it, the patterns happen, they're really easy to see, and the likelihood of what happens next is a high likelihood. So you could trade that and put very little risk, so that if you lose, some will lose, you don't win everything, but you win more than you lose, and that's how you grow your account and make money. But eventually you give yourself a raise by moving your finger from the 1 to the 2, or the 2 to the 3, just increasing your position size because your account's grown, and now you could substantiate doubling up or adding another position, still with a small risk. So you can weather the storm, and when the winners come, it explodes your account. And that always happens when you have a winning trade plan. So that's the key. That's the secret.
Gang, just imagine having Troy as your mentor, your stock mentor. Pretty impressive stuff. Well, guess what? That's exactly what Troy, the opportunity he's giving to our audience. It's an amazing opportunity. He wants to be our personal training coach, and I am excited to be along for the ride on that one. If you click on the link below, you can sign up for his amazing webinar on learning how to become a backpack trader. The webinar is January 12th. At 3 p.m. Eastern. This is going to be an amazing opportunity. I'll be there learning all about this freeing lifestyle of becoming a backpack trader right along with you. Troy will tell us more about it as we go along, but it's just an amazing opportunity. So do not hesitate. Again, it's a limited time offer, so it's a limited spaces to sign up. So make sure you click on that link below, sign up Thursday, January 12th at 3 p.m. Eastern. You know, one of the things that I love to teach our audience about, Troy, is frameworks to just, to better process and organize information to make it more accessible and comprehensive, particularly in the realm of news and politics. What's an easy framework for people to use when evaluating the market or the economy? To try to understand what's going on. Again, a lot of people just feel like so much things are so big and so technical today. It's almost impossible to make any sense of it.
Yeah, I mean, you almost get the feeling like you're a deer caught in the headlights of an oncoming car, right? There's so much information, and then everyone's opinion and all the talking heads, and one person says one thing who's well respected, and then you hear an hour later someone else says the exact opposite, also someone well respected, totally different viewpoints. Exactly, and that's all you get. But nothing's changed. It was like that 30 years ago. It's always like that. And you know what? That's what makes a market. A market, here's a framework that I use. The market is made up of two sides, buyers and sellers. And imagine a big tug of war, if you will. And in the middle of that tug of war is a crocodile pit, right? So the buyers are on one side pulling on the rope and the sellers are on the other side. It's all based on all the things in the world that influence the balance of power. And that's always changing. And it's impossible to know everything because you think you might know everything. And then there's something that hasn't hit the news yet, or that you won't find out, or that who knows what. It's impossible, right? But guess what can never hide from the truth ever? The price itself, because the price is always trying to find its perfect place. And so buyers are pushing it up. Sellers are pushing it down. The big tug of war and the line of sand that if the buyers all of a sudden take over and you get in the big bull market like we've had, everyone's selling is getting pulled in and devoured by those hungry crocodiles. And so then what happens is the buyers end up exhausting themselves and the market's gone so far up, there aren't any more buyers. And so then the sellers regain their strength and they start pulling the buyers into the crocodile pit, and the prices get pushing lower and lower and lower and lower. So what if you can be on the right side of that balance of power and you could flip sides whenever you need to? So to me, it's a way of thinking. That's a framework if you think about it, because since we don't know everything, you end up becoming better off when you just surrender that idea. I don't know everything, and maybe I just know less than I think, but what knows more and what I can see right in front of me is what the price is doing right now. That's telling me something. And so I developed a way to interpret that using very smart patterns that tend to happen all the time. And the reason why it happens all the time is because of that dynamic we just talked about. Well, you have fear, you have greed, you have supply and demand, you have the buyers who are in charge pulling the sellers in the crocodile pit, and vice versa. That always happens. But there are certain clues that let you know when the shift is going to take place, or when the one side is going to get a second wind and get even more power, which is what a trend is. And you learn how to get on the right side of who's ever winning that tug of war. and then you trade in and out. So you're never exposed to the risks of the market for very long. And when you are, it's very controlled and very defined and done with a lot of thoughtful intention, so you can't get hurt. So in a way, trading is like any other business. I even compare it to life. If you think about every decision you make in life, that's like a trade. You make a decision based on what it's gonna do for you, right? And you probably have to trade off something else, like you're deciding this instead of that. And there's this calculation that happens subconsciously. We don't even think about it because we make so many decisions every single day. But really what you're doing is you're trading. You're trading one thing for another. And hopefully what you're getting is going to benefit you and further you along the path of a better life, whatever that is for each person listening, right?
Right.
Well, isn't that what trading is in a sense? It's the same type of mentality. And so you have to first begin with this idea of what you want. Like most people don't even think about that. They're so caught up in their lives, living their life and just trying to survive and just trying to overcome these challenges that people tend to put what they want on the back burner and don't give it enough thought. But to me, that's the most important thing, because when you finally put your finger on what it is you really want, then you're able to make a decision from the point of view of having it already. See, that's the key, is there's where you are now, and then there's where you want to be. And most people are making decisions from where they are now. But I find that if you can use the power of your imagination, which is one of the most powerful things ever created, you can project yourself into what you really want, where you really want to be, and then you make decisions from that point of view. And that's the first step to becoming your own version of the backpack trader. If you think about it, it all fits together really nicely, but you need the formula. Obviously, there's a framework. And so back to framework, here's another idea that really helps people put things in context. If you're planning a big trip, a road trip, who is going to get in the car and just start driving without looking at a map to see how to get from here to there? Right? Or worse, who's going to get in the car without taking their sleeping blindfold? I wear blindfolds because the light comes in, it's so bright and it wakes me up. So I wear a blindfold, right? Well, imagine if I got in the car and started driving without taking it off. That'd be pretty foolish, right?
Right.
That's how most people treat the markets. So I say, what if we had a map to follow? What if we had a step-by-step plan that you can literally prove will take you to your destination before you ever even risk your money? How does that sound? That sounds like, maybe that's interesting, right? Well, imagine if that plan, you could prove it to yourself first and practice it and get really, really good at it and never do it and never even risk anything to learn how to do that. And then, when you're finally taking a trade, it's like every decision in life, you're doing it to do something better. But now you know that trade has a high likelihood of success because you've gone through the steps properly to prove it first. Now you believe in it. Right. You can't buy belief. You have to acquire it. These are all parts of the Backpack Trader Live framework that I teach.
Well, you just said it in the sense that life itself is organized around trading, minute by minute trading. That's kind of a Mr. Miyagi sort of thing, right? For the Karate Kid, sand the floor.
Maybe so, but there's this irony that human beings make terrible traders. Just we're not wired to be traders because we're wired to survive and to run away from pain. And so when you don't know how to trade and you just start winging it, and you see this great movement on this chart and you're like imagining, I could have made that trade, I could have made all this money, and you believe it, you never experience a passing of time. You never experience what it really means when you're in the trade. You have no control over what's going to happen next. And those are the things that need to be learned in a safe environment. Right. And most people don't do it in a safe environment, and then they end up losing more than they should. And that's one of the reasons why I started this program, because I've seen a lot of people get hurt. I've also seen a lot of people benefit and achieve great things. So I'm in a unique position to help people do that. I started calling a live trade room over 18 years ago. And you know, if you think what the common wisdom is, it takes 10,000 hours to become professional at something. I got that like early years ago. I mean, 10,000 hours seems like a blink now. I mean, so I've seen it all, and I've learned a lot, and I've created some strategies as a result of that unique experience of calling live trades for people for years and years and years. And I've had the opportunity to work with countless traders in many countries. And yeah, I mean, it's only a handful of things that are preventing traders from failing, and they're all fixable. And so that's why I feel like I have a real productive and important role to play that could really help people.
And gang, if you're just joining us, Troy is giving to our audience an amazing opportunity to be our personal trading coach. So if you just click on that link below, you can sign up for this awesome webinar on becoming a backpack trader. The webinar is January 12th, 3 p.m. Eastern. Seating is limited, so don't wait. You need to click on that link below right now. It's an amazing opportunity. It's absolutely free. Troy's being very, very generous with his time with us. I'll be there. It's going to be an amazing time. I'm very excited about this. By the way, Troy, if you don't mind, I mean, you know, you mentioned how life itself involves trade. How did you get started in trading in stocks? What's your backstory here?
Well, back in the early 90s, I was working a business. I ended up buying a business at a very young age. I was 27. I bought it with my Visa and my MasterCard. And then I learned the meaning of real work, because, you know, when you work for a job, you think you work. But when you really work is when you have a business, and a business that actually is growing and exploding and getting bigger, and you have to learn as you go. So maybe I got 3 hours of sleep a night, maybe.
Yeah.
And so one day I received a brochure in the mail, and I saw this thing. I almost threw it away. This is one of these defining moments in my life. You know how it is when a door of opportunity opens rarely, and you have the chance to walk through it or not. Most people, myself included, miss most of the opportunity doors that open up. Like it's lucky when you can finally like flash on it and be aware that it's there, and then have the courage to walk through it, right? If you think about it, that doesn't happen to a lot of people many times in life. Those are usually defining moments for people. This was a defining moment for me. And like I said, I almost threw the brochure away. And I saw something that said Head and Shoulders, and then a bunch of bars that looked like a mountain. And I looked at it and read it, and I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't shampoo. Head and Shoulders is a pattern that predicts a turning in the market. It's an old pattern. It's very dependable. And I learned it from a paper brochure I got from an early marketer. This is before the internet. I mean, maybe the internet was just starting, but there weren't cell phones. I mean, this is like a long time ago, right? And I think I had an Apple Mac SE in those days or something like that. So really thrilled I had this powerful 10 megahertz computer. Anyway, I'll tell this story again, so I don't want to kind of steal my thunder, but what I learned was that that pattern still works. It worked then, it worked now. I actually unwittingly placed the same trade that someone else placed, a billionaire trader. He ended up breaking the Bank of England. It's an infamous trade. It was a currency trade. And I unwittingly traded it also, and didn't know that the Bank of England was about to be broken. But I took my several grand and backpacked through Europe. And I played drums. I don't know if you know that. I'm a drummer. I've been playing my whole life. And while I was traveling,
I'm a guitar player. Yeah.
Oh man. Well, we're gonna have
we'll have to jam sometime there.
Totally. I picked up a set of bongos while I was backpacking through Europe, right? And along the way, I met a musician from South America, and we went through bars and played for free beer, and it was a real Renaissance time in my life. And I was living like what true freedom really means, because I left my business back at home. I was in the hands of a manager who was running it. I was going through a big breakup. It was a dark period in my life, but I made this money enough to be able to backpack through Europe for several months and not have a care in the world other than what I'm going to eat in the next 10 minutes. Cause I was changing my mind every 5 seconds, basically on everything. That's talk about free. You have to know what to do with it when you have it. But I learned, and I picked up some bongos and I was playing. I went to visit my friend in South America the following year. And within 24 hours, I ended up meeting my wife. And we've been married for 27 years. My kids are, growing up. And the other trader, whose name I won't mention, made billions. I made a wife. The backpack trader was born, although I didn't realize it at the time. But what I did realize is that trading it gave me something that I never wanted to give up again. And I realized how important it is to get it right because of what it can do for you in your life. If you do get it right, it's worth the effort. That was my start. Quick, the quick tail of it. Obviously, there are twists and turns along the way, but
that's wonderful. Why? Just real quick, why should someone sign up for this free training session? What do you envision for them?
Well, for one thing, and I often say this, I love working with brand new traders, people that have never traded before, because I know I could teach them the correct way the first time. And I've worked with a lot of traders that have been trading for a long time, and they have a very difficult time unlearning a lot of bad habits. And those bad habits continue to again, the rat in the wheel. No matter how hard they work at it, they never make any progress. And it's because they've skipped critical steps. Like there's a step-by-step process. There's a square one, a square two, a square three. A lot of people don't want to go on square one or square. They want to get to what they're imagining. Great. I want you to be where you're imagining, but make the decision of what you're going to do next from the person who is already there. Like you have to, again, projecting yourself to what you want to be, not where you are. And if you want to learn the right way, the right time, so that one time, so that you can actually get that big dream, that backpack trader lifestyle of freedom, whatever that means to you. Again, you don't have to, I don't schlep a backpack anymore, but I still travel and trade.
It's a metaphor. Yes.
A metaphor, a freedom metaphor. It's the most, for me, it was free for me. Like I told you my story. The reason why you would sign up is because maybe you're just tired of the way things are. Maybe you're tired of working so hard. Maybe you want to make some extra money. Maybe you want to fire your boss. Maybe you want to retire sooner. Maybe you want to be able to travel and trade and make extra money and not worry about things. If you're willing to put in the time and effort and do it the correct way, then you could be rewarded richly. And if you do it the wrong way, then you could be in for a rude awakening. And I don't want that for people. I'd rather people not trade at all than do it the wrong way.
Right.
Because they can get hurt. But if you do it the right way, it's like anything else in life. You control it and you can make it work for you. And so I could teach people how to do that because I know how. I've been teaching people for years, and I have strategies that have been working for many years that are really easy and make things really clear. And I always make my strategies available to anyone that joins my program. So all my best strategies I teach, starting with the ones that are really simple. And some people never go beyond those because they don't need to. Yeah.
Wonderful. Oh, this is amazing, Troy. Gang, this is just the beginning. This is the first day of the rest of your life economically, for sure. Make sure to click on that link below. Troy's offering to mentor our audience in stock trading. So click on that link, sign up for Troy's amazing webinar on becoming a backpack trader. The backpack is a metaphor. It means freedom when all said and done. The webinar is January 12th at 3 p.m. Eastern. So mark your calendars. I'll be there to learn right alongside each and every one of you. We're going to have an amazing time discovering how we can be both free and flourishing during these crazy and volatile times. Troy, thank you so much, man. We'll have you back real soon.
Dr. Steve, thank you so much, too. It was such a pleasure. And we're going to have to definitely schedule that jam session.
That big time. Absolutely, Troy. God bless, man.
You too.